Whoops, I missed this one out from part 1. Anyway, who remembers that time Rayman had a party game? Clearly I didn't. Still a lot of fun, and has one of the most dramatic opera songs I've ever heard in a game. The only thing that's scarier than the monster in this game is learning what would happen to the game's IRL setting about a century later. I'm the kind of person that believes a game being too short is not a valid criticism for a game. That being said, this game was a bit short, wasn't it? An incredible story, some of the most iconic lines and characters from the franchise, zombies, and multiplayer lobbies full of squeakers on shitty mics. Basically peak Call of Duty. Ever wanted to play cops and robbers, but you play on both sides so you always come out on top? For a decade-old game, this still feels fast and exciting, especially when you could get a large 8-player multiplayer lobby back in the day. Do you know what my LEGO games could use more of? Real-time strategy. I can't decide whether you should live or die, though you're... Unpopular opinion, I don't think there should be a Portal 3, story-wise. The main plot is basically wrapped up, and any further games should focus on expanding the puzzles or mechanics, or just be spin-offs if anything. If you want more shell, play that LEGO Dimensions Portal DLC. Just a fun, classic LEGO movie adaptation that's just as much a treat as the rest, though it was a missed opportunity not to make any of the collectibles specifically rum bottles. This game and what it stands for, at least for me, did for Battersea Power Station what Pink Floyd did for it with Animals back in the day. Basically Top Gear the game, in that it lets you drive around the Top Gear test track in the reasonably priced car, plus features Jeremy Clarkson gushing over cars. Unironically one of the best modern Sonic games, while simultaneously being one of the least original. Looking at Skyrim retrospectively, it really is a modern benchmark that set the pace for open world games and storytelling for the modern age, and it gives me hope that they've so far stayed silent about the development of The Elder Scrolls 6. But then again, that Overwatch 2 fiasco simultaneously makes me worried. The most broken thing about this game was that I unlocked the Collect Ghost Studs extra really early on, which made grinding studs extremely quick and effortless, and I never had to worry about items being expensive ever again. Typical that Rayman gets momentarily revived by an absolute fever dream of an experience that still manages to be one of the much better games out there. The Anniversary Edition's toggling between old and new graphics was Halo introducing RTX on and off before it became cool. I just cannot stop toggling this thing. I think I need help. Say what you will about Minecraft, it's still one of the best executed sandboxes and possibly games of all time, even if half the player base sticks around for community-run live service server monopolies. The game where the main bad guy is the video game equivalent of that Wojak meme of the guy wearing a smiling face mask, but underneath he is holding back tears. For what should only be some mundane life simulator, Euro Truck is a surprisingly relaxing and engaging driving simulator. When you actually want to obey the rules of the road, that is. Still the unparalleled open-world racing simulator with a godlike soundtrack, where the devs at the time actually did not censor words that weren't even remotely inappropriate. Looking at you, Horizon 5! As a big fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, this game really pleased me. The open world is adapted wonderfully, and it genuinely feels like I'm inside this beloved universe. Sorry, but the Need for Speed Most Wanted you're looking for is in another castle, though the most amusing thing about this game was the insane intro clips preceding a race. One of those games where you get the odd golden moment where a tiger might randomly come in and gobble up all of your enemies for you. Also, this is my Better Call Saul alternate universe. A war vehicle game where my friends are constantly trying to ram their planes into my rear end for the giggles, and tank gameplay that reminds us all why Hanzo's scatter arrow was removed from Overwatch. Half of this game was me sitting and waiting for my character to walk to where I'd asked him to walk to. The other half was waiting for him to respawn again after about 3 hits. This lasted for well over an hour. I only ever played this game once. This shows you that even the most basic and mundane looking of games can have some of the most enthralling and stressful experiences. Probably one of the reasons why so many kids love royalty-free EDM these days. And even if the 2.2 update has taken its time, it'll still probably be a shorter wait for a major update than Team Fortress 2. you know what? Even if the next generation never plays the original Rayman trilogy, I'll still be satisfied if this will be their main experience of the franchise. One of the best controlling platformers of all time that, for now, ends this franchise off on a much-deserved high note, even for all the highs the franchise has already had. The game that rivals Forza Horizon 1 for some of the best radio songs in a video game, although Rockstar were dumb for thinking online would somehow not be as anarchic as it still is today. Oh yeah, I did play this one, didn't I? Yeah, this one's actually alright.
Stanley.
Don't be fooled by the title. You actually want to stay alive by the 7th day in a surprisingly decent and well-rounded concept of building your own defense in an open-world RPG zombie survival game, where the biggest threat to your safety is your trolley teammates. Ubisoft, can we have Rayman in Smash? No, Timmy, we have Rayman in Smash at home. Rayman in Smash at home. This franchise has been bastardized beyond belief, but I will say that the atmosphere, dread, and claustrophobia this first game produces is incredible, and was a shining example of indie horror for its time that still somehow garnered a fanbase of literal toddlers. This is sadly not an exaggeration. A fun little quick game to keep you occupied when you find yourself in a place with no internet, something the likes of Ubisoft, EA, or Activision would never dream of making. A truly immaculate horror game that makes the xenomorph scary for the first time in nearly 30 years, which, when you look at that thing, really isn't that hard to do. This is literally just Monopoly, but with a few extra optional rules. It's good, and I wish more people played it, despite some matches potentially taking so long by the next day you're pronounced legally dead. A driving game where you drive your own tracks generated by your music library? Sign me the f*** up! Another game when you surf over your own musically generated tracks, with responses to bumps, beats, and the changing intensity of a song, and a plethora of workshop add-ons. Oh, and there's some other game modes too. Fun, fast, and fluent rocket car football with gameplay I adore. Shame that the extra game modes are now competitive only, and when I tried playing them, matchmaking somehow put me many times above my own skill level, and I ended up getting bullied for not being good when all I wanted was a casual kickabout. A fun little fan-made spin-off Portal game about an unused model from the Portal 2 co-op mode, where the main enemy is basically the Vox voice from Half-Life. Not even a cuckoo fanbase can detract from just how perfect this game is. Sure, it may have had a relatively slow start for me personally, but once you get past that first section, it reaches its high and rarely comes down again. One of the only games I've ever physically applauded at the end. Playing this game never truly felt the same after 2020, did it? Though it'll be interesting to see how the actual COVID pandemic changes the infection rate AI of this game. Probably out of favour with the USA, and most of the world in fact. Honey, I'm afraid you won't have any friends left after you're done with this game, but you may come out with a reasonable price on your head. Much like Euro Truck, another surprisingly relaxing and enthralling trucking experience, but now in the USA. Or at least, the West Coast, that is.
By the way, when are we getting f***ing Illinois, or at least the Midwest in general? Give us f***ing Chicago, bitch!
A wonderfully relaxing farming sim which is secretly just a disguise for a dating sim. Now please accept my sardines and turnips. Please, they're literally all I have. Honestly, this game is such a great stress reliever and encapsulates cathartic demon-slaying violence to near perfection, with a top-notch soundtrack. I sure hope Bethesda can keep treating their most famous music composers with respect. Overwatch was a very fun class-based shooter with fun and memorable characters and interesting maps. It's a shame the game suddenly doesn't exist anymore. Still, it'll always exist over in one particular place. This game was made so redundant by the Skywalker saga and the rest of the sequel trilogy, I won't even count it in the 50 games for this video. Kinda like Doom, but instead of blasting demons, you're parkouring for the depths of hell, and instead of doing it to avenge your rabbit, it's because the devil came and stole your beer. Both protagonists have their priorities straight. Battlefield officially has the same naming habits that Xbox does. No, Timmy, we have Minecraft Java at home.
It's been this